Good evening, everyone. Welcome here for this evening in Phillip Island. And for tonight, we are for the Assetto Corsa round number 9. And we are here for a bit of a different circuit as the usual, as we are currently in one of the most iconic circuits in the motorbike environment. We are, as I said, in Phillip Island, a track that has been present in the MotoGP and obviously Moto2, Moto3 for several years already. It was held for the first time in 1989, then had a pause of 7 years, and then in 1997 kept on going until the present day. And effectively, apart from SBK and MotoGP, it doesn't really put anything else on a show, but this track is memorable. It has been one of the most memorable rounds in the MotoGP and SBK championships. Let me just see a couple of things here because. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the current standings in the MX5 Pro Series by GSI. As you can see, Edoardo Cavalli currently leads the pack by a good chunk, 600 points already. For him, there are 4,800 points in his name. Jack Black follows in second place, and Really Gallardo third with 4,080 points. And then Takayuki Okubo and Massimiliano Barale complete your top 5. Effectively, the championship is coming to an end, and I think we already have our preferences in who will be able to clinch the championship. Speaking of it, let's also give this is the calendar. A look at the prices in the championship, as these are the prices for the MX5 Pro Series by GSI, an FPA V2 for the winner of the series, and GXL V2 for the second place holder, and for whoever brings home the bronze medal, there is an Interlock Ultra wheel brought to you by GSI, but also there are another good chunk of prices for all the other series in in the other Assetto Corsa series. There is one for the GT3 series, for the Formula Series, for the Radical Cup, for the TCR Cup, and the majority of the series that have place in LFM. 20th season that is also coming to an end. And here you can see the calendar, because we are currently in the 9th week with 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th week that are coming in well, obviously for the end of season. Most importantly, the final part of the season will be held on at least for both AC and SEC, not on Wednesday and Thursday, because it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, if I remember correctly. But this is the full calendar up until the end, with Sonoma monitoring Bilsterberg and Roche Life completing the championship. Now let's see if everything works, which usually is far-fetched. That everything works the first available chance. So the server is now live. So let me go into here. Okay, but it is working. Let me join. Please tell me everything works. It will be the first time in my life that everything works. Something. So just a quick look at it. I'm feeling for the textures, mainly because I have the pure filter on as always, but not sure how it behaves with Phillip Island. Okay, so the deliveries are on, effectively. Let me just... okay, so the pure filter is on, this one is on, and this one is on. I can do... I can see a couple of odd the things on screen. But here we are, and this is our lobby. As you can see, 10 minutes until the end of the qualifying session. Everything seems to work. This is tough. Okay, I was just very scared, mainly because the entire hub crashed when I was joining. So I was like, maybe something doesn't work. Not sure why, but apparently everything works, so I'm happy with it. As you can see, I'm first in the qualifying for some reasons. But as you can see, someone is missing. The Brazilian driver is missing. The current championship leader is missing at the moment. And so we've got Jay Black and Really Gallardo following one another, as we are currently into turn... it's the last one. Yes, it is last turn. It's turn 12. This one here. So we go over main straight. I have to remember that this track is actually anti-clockwise, even if the first turn is a right-hander. So this is going to hurt me because I don't know why, but if I see the track, it tells me that it is a clockwise one, but it isn't. Anyway, qualifying starts now. First valid lap for everyone here, and yeah, as I put in chat, I'm currently with a new microphone, and so I hope everything is working as intended, which, as always, I have no idea about it. I probably have to lower the Assetto Corsa, because it was a bit too noisy. So yeah, definitely now it's a bit better. Let's put it minus 18. Should work. My voice is clear apparently. And also noise is a bit more bearable now. Maybe it was a bit too high earlier on. Let's put it like this. So as I was saying earlier on, this track is famous for two wheels action, and it's a bit rare to see four wheels action here. Well, it's a bit rare. It's actually, I don't think no, actually the supercars came in here until 2019. I have to say sorry about the previous statement, because in 2019 there was the last time four wheels actually went on the Australian racetrack, as Krylov sets the first purple lap. Black goes on to set the car in first, 48.6. Same for his teammate, with Really Gallardo 71 milliseconds off the pace. But he was also the one ahead of Black himself. So we have our first top four. As I can see here, 26 cars at the moment. But if I get a look at the website, I should see that the cars are actually 26. Ah, because yes, I'm the safety car. So yes, 26 cars for tonight. And four wheels on a track that usually holds two wheels racing action. As we currently approach the hairpin here, turn number 4 into Miller Corner, named after Jack Miller himself. Then 5 and then 6 into Siberia. Then 7, 8, which are these... why are... Oh, someone is being kicked. Not sure why. Probably someone joined the session, but he wasn't registered in the website. Because now it should be back to 26 runners, probably. Anyway, oh, that's a bit wide for Gallardo. And Okubo now is leading the pack. 48.5 for the Japanese driver in the number 77. So only some milliseconds between Okubo Black and Gallardo, following a 10.5 behind. Krylov back on the main straight, 3 times off the pace. And that was Zalewski. Zalewski in 7th place, as Black puts back the car in first, with Gallardo just 12 milliseconds up front, with a 48.3 for both drivers. 319 for Black, 331 for Gallardo. Kubo follows another 2 times behind. Phillip, it is 6, but Okubo just now goes across the line. A very marginal improvement. Less than 2 times, but it's just narrowly. Oh, that's 77 off. Into the gravel. Nearly crashing into the car head. Real situation there, probably. Oh, there are more cameras than the usual. That's very cool for this track. So let's have a look at the Romain Frankie that goes all the way into the grass. Probably ruins a bit current lap time. And that was also the 29. Oh, Romain Frankie very wide into the hairpin. Into turn 4. So probably that lap is a ruined one for him. And Manu Villa has a terrible artifact in front, on top of his car. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Oh, that's odd. That's very odd. Okay, I think that he's back without artifacts on top of his car. So probably something was actually wrong with his race car. Anyway, Black and Gallardo one after the other once again, and that's not an improvement. Actually, it is an improvement for Gallardo and for Black. 7.8 for Gallardo, 7.9 for Black. That's actually behind him. So these two are working together as much as possible. As some leaves are flying in front of my screen. Okubo now sits 7 times off Phillip around there, nearly 8 times. Barale follows in 5th in the not Penzo livery. And then we got another driver getting kicked from the race. Odd, it doesn't happen usually. 3 minutes until the very end of the session. As number 60 goes a bit in oversteer. That's Colin Anderson, a second off the pace at the moment. Kowa 7th place, Galaxy 8th, Frankie in 9th, and then we've got Manu Villa in the 23, second point 3. Effectively a second point 4, so many drivers are finding difficulties for tonight's round. Then we got Mashas, Casero, Rod, Zalewski, Kostrin, Diker, Alexander, Kuto, Nucher, Diaz, Sanchez, Salazar, Lozada, Müller, Ojeda, and Sabaski without a valid lap time yet. With Pablo Ojeda, that is still about to complete a 1 lap, and Sabaski that is not on track at all. Gallardo, another purple lap, and once again in front of his teammate by 7 milliseconds only. Krylov is now in 3rd, and Galaxy is now in 4th. Adam Galaxy here, the Canadian, 4th place at the moment for the Canadian driver. And Galaxy is probably trying to hit the tires a bit more. So these two will probably be at the very top of the standings, even in the race, considering their gap already ramps up to 6 milliseconds. Effectively 7 times practically between this duo and everyone else. At least Krylov and Galaxy are only 6 milliseconds apart, and Okubo is another 7, with Barale following another 8 behind. So it's very close for 3rd, not so much for 1st. Well, even for 1st, but not so much between 2nd and 3rd. These two have been able to follow one another in incredible fashion up until now. The number 44 is Jake Black, with Really Gallard in number 22. 40 seconds till the end of the session. And effectively nobody seems to be even close to them in pace. And Kirillov and Galaxy already putting themselves in a bit of a racing action, with Galaxy behind Kirillov. And that was another improvement. This time Gallardo jumps ahead by a good chunk on his teammate by 2 attempts. Gallardo with a 7.6 and Black with a 7.8. Kirillov follows another 9 attempts behind Gallardo. At this point the situation is inconceivable for everyone else involved in action. Should be more clean now. I just put together the noise gate on the microphone. Hopefully it doesn't mean that the whole setup is ruined now. So back on the current action. Oh yeah, all of a sudden Pablo Heda, third place for Pablo Heda at the moment in the number 60 here. And Kirillov also second, also third, with 48.2. Hokubo goes a bit quicker, 48.1, so he gets third on the line. Kowa also gets fifth. Galaxy jumps from fourth all the way down to 7th, with Manuvilla also getting 8th place. Barale couldn't improve and he is 9th at the moment. So qualifying session effectively over. So we now go into the race in 2 minutes and a half. And so let's see. Okay, maybe I just have to wait some seconds before the grid is set on the website, and then 40 minutes of racing will follow in 120 seconds time. So let's see if yes, really Gallardo in first. Okay, no, wait, I can't do this, otherwise it becomes quite difficult. So let me just set this one here. Sebastian has been kicked again from the server. So really Gallardo effectively first place in front of Jake Black, Takayuki Kubo in third, Kirillov and Riyad Kowa, the Canadian, in fifth. Then Pablo Heda, Adam Galaxy, Manu Villa, Massimiliano Barale and Colin Anderson completing your top 10. And this is the full qualifying session in front of your screen. Just hit the microphone, that was me hitting things. So for one time the Brazilian driver ahead of the competition is not present for tonight's race, so it will probably be the drop round, this one here. Just put the microphone a bit further away, as we are now 30 seconds away from the very start of the race. So I think it's optimal to put the grid away and to put myself into the grid. Can I have a better camera? There are very... Okay, this is a good one. So, Gallardo and Black, first row for both of them. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's green light, and away we go. It was a very nice start by the Japanese driver, Okubo. already jumped a bit the line, but that was also a perfect start by everyone else effectively. With Gallard and Black locking the first row without any real trouble. Black follows with Okubo behind, Kirillov in 4th and Kowa in 5th place. Then, see on the onboard of Riyad Okua, the Canadian driver here, defending against Ojeda, which is actually Adam Galaxy, probably as Adam Galaxy goes onto the inside. The other Canadian driver is now entering inside of turn number 3. This could be a nice position for him. Yes, it is. Adam Galaxy jumps into 6th. Ojeda has to defend against Barale that jumped to Villa, and he's now in 8th. Frankie does the same on the outside, and that's a change a bit in the top 10 with Roman Frankie now sitting ahead of Villa. Situation up front remains effectively the same without any real difference. Aaron follows in a single file as the Black clearly is not really distancing himself from his teammate. Okubo also very much behind, but that could change very rapidly. Oh, that was also... Oh, there is a contact between Kirillov and Kowa. Little contact between them, and that actually opened the door for Galaxy, Adam Galaxy on the outside. He tries at number 3, and that doesn't actually happen. He remains behind as he tried to go on the outside of the last turn into turn 12. That was very much a difficult action for him, and not only that, but Ojeda could actually be able to jump in front. There is a distinct possibility for that to happen. But back in front, Gallardo, Black, Okubo, with Okubo actually keeping the pace and the rhythm. Apparently he didn't have so much luck in qualifying, but apparently he in the race, he is close. He is close to that, and could actually be able to maybe try. Oh no, that was Pablo Ojeda. That is not in the race anymore. Not sure the reason for that, but Pablo Ojeda is not in the race anymore, and as you can see, he's now back in the pits. Possibly a disconnection for him. A very unfortunate. Oh, there is a possible overtake there between Okubo and Black. There is actually the overtake, and Okubo is now in 2nd place momentarily as Black goes back for 2nd place into turn number 5, into 6, and then 7. And it's back to a 1-2 for Gallard and Black, with Okubo following in further. But Kirillov now has a distinct chance at putting pressure at the 2 cars ahead. As you can see, with the bloom that possibly makes situation a bit difficult for the drivers, because they have the sun in their eyes in this section, which is very technical. Oh, that was a car going very wide. That was possibly... that was Ryan Okua. Riyad Okua that went very wide into the grass and could actually be in danger of losing the position number 5 with Galaxy in 6th. But I think coming back to the lead, I saw a glimpse of Black flashing the lights to his teammate, probably asking for some more draft, but they didn't happen, or did happen? Can't say for certain, but something I can say for certain is Kirillov now in 4th place. Into the inside he goes into turn 1, and AssetAustin.com racing car is now in 3rd place, and the Bulgarian driver has a chance now for not only the podium but even 2nd place as Okubo runs back into turn number 2. Into the inside he goes. The Japanese driver has an obvious chance, but at the same time he was already behind and not enough space for the overtake to happen. But these two battling have actually put a blessing for the 2 ahead, because now they are further away from the group. Meanwhile, Frankie and Barale, with Barale on the inside, the Italian has the position number 7, and Frankie has to remain behind. 8th place for Frankie, and possibly Villa could become a danger for the Maltese driver. Meanwhile, Okubo still behind Kirillov at this point. I think the battle for 2nd, unfortunately, is not a possibility anymore. And so these two will probably put their attention on the battle for the podium place. Unless Black and Gallardo, which... Oh, there's a contact! A huge contact, and that is Kirillov out. Spinning after the downhill section, and that's Kirillov that loses every single position he had. He comes back in 10th, maybe 11th. Just in front of Casero. But that's 10th place for the Bulgarian driver. Very unfortunate there. Possibly a penalty after the race. But at the same time, that's Anderson trying something cheeky there. Trying an overtake on Casero, who himself tried to jump a place. But the three of them actually remain on the same places. They finished the lap. And now Kubo is nearly 2 seconds off the pace compared to Gallardo and Black. And so he probably has to defend the position number 3. As we go on board with Galaxy. Could send the car into the inside. Nancy there is not yet, although the 70 was pretty... was pretty much keeping a door open in case a dive bomb was happening. A pretty conservative line for Kowa. But both of them didn't surpass anybody. And so Kubo for now remains 3rd. And Kirillov is effectively on a comeback run. After the incident that happened early on. Still a very packed pack. Sorry for the wordplay. But the group is very close at the moment. We got an effective train starting from Mokubo and ending with Villa. Then Mashas is a 2.3 behind with Kirillov just behind him. So bump draft for Villa and Frankie. Possibly the idea here is to get closer to Barale. 8.6 for Barale, 8.7 for Frankie, 8.7 for Villa 2. Nearly flat out into turn number 1. But no overtake happened as of now. With the Italian that had a very good start. He was starting in 9th if I remember correctly, and now he's already in 6th place. As there is the overtake there from Frankie that jumps into 6th with a dive bomb into the hairpin turn number 4. Apologies, oh yeah, it is turn number 4. And by turn number 5, it's already a done deal. And so Villa now becomes a danger for Barale. The Italian that probably will answer back. And now you can see there was a very huge gap. The big gap between Okubo and Kowa is basically the same as the one between Okubo and Black. And the last lap was actually narrowly slower for Okubo compared to Gallardo. But 2 seconds are still 2 seconds that have to be closed. And the gap for now seems like to actually extend. Galaxy still in 5th, Frankie still in 6th, although Barale is very much on the attack phase here. In turn number 1 we could see a dive bomb from both the Italian and the Canadian driver in 5th. But neither of those tried any action on the opponent and rival. So the situation remains crystallized. As of now, Casero narrowly behind Anderson as 62 and 60 are 11th and 12th. Matches is only hoping that the battles goes on. Very situation as Okubo's last lap was very slow compared to Gallardo and Black, 8.2, so something to feel like unless one of the two makes a mistake, which is actually possible, considering that anything can happen in 30 minutes time. But as of now, those 2 seconds remain, 2 and maybe more. But the train behind is not really helping Kirillov. That was 4th prior to the incident. Now he is in 9th. But still, last lap it was an 8.5 for Kirillov. A bit quicker than Villa, but not as quick as I thought. Oh, there was a possible dive bomb between Barale and Frankie, and actually the dive bomb succeeded in the Italians' favor for all of 1.2 seconds before Barale went back behind Frankie. This actually helps Villa in his run for 6th. With these two into a battle of their own. But in turn 1 it is very difficult, even considering these cars are not lifting off. For example, compared to MotoGP races in which you can see the riders throwing out the safety leg to slow down as much as possible from more than 300 km per hour to short of 100 in turn 1 usually, and apologies, I'm 150 I think. Anyway, here last lap for Frankie and Barale was an 8.6, Villa 8.7, Kirillov 8.5, so there is an improvement for Kirillov at the moment, but it's not as good as I thought. Oku was still trying to put pressure, but last lap was an 8.2 for the Japanese driver, who is now sitting 2.2 seconds away from the duo up front. Oku created a bit of a gap between himself and Galaxy, with Frankie that follows in 6th, while in 7th, Villa in 8th, Kirillov effectively cutting down the gap ever so slightly, and then we got a number 07 and Anderson in 10th and 11th, with Machas that now lost the gap that he had between himself and Anderson behind. Last lap it was actually 8.4 for Anderson, so the rhythm is there clearly, and the pace is also in Anderson's side. And speaking of which, Anderson is now alongside Machas, and by the end of the turn, not even, actually even before the turn started, the 60 is already ahead of Machas, so 10th place for Anderson there. Barale still here in front of Frankie. And an 8.5 for Barale, with Frankie's 8.7, with Villa with an 8.8, and Krilov's 8.3, so he's definitely back in contention. That was very, very aggressive from Frankie. He tried to put together an attack, but maybe a bit too late, and nearly collided with the rival in front. As a matter of fact, he actually lost some time 2 times in the very same corner into turn number 4, which is Miller's corner. And now the train is back together. The train between Galaxy and Kirillov. With these drivers that could make a move or not, but probably yes. Especially there, you can see Frankie is very aggressive on the Italian driver in the car number 72. So effectively, when Frankie is clearly thinking about an attack somewhere, sometime, and that time maybe no, there is some bomb draft, so effectively the overtake actually happens, but behind Kirillov alongside Villa, and into the inside goes, and by the start of turn number 1, that's the orange MX5 in front of the purple one, and number 23 is now in 9th place, with Kirillov gaining 1 place. He is now in 8th with a 48.0. That was a very close fastest lap. Not quite, but very close nevertheless. And Krylov now in 8th place. Although he wasn't the quickest car on track. That is... well, for this lap already. For this lap at least. That was Okubo in... Oh, that was a possible overtake between Barale and Galaxy into 4. And Galaxy still remains in front of the Italian driver. But you can see that here Massimiliano Barale was very keen on trying an attack into 4. Very difficult, but still the attack was there. Fourth gear for Barale, and now downhill with Galaxy that braked a bit earlier compared to Barale. I'll be honest, the sky with the pure filter is incredible. It's photorealistic. And I love it. Assetto Corsa sometimes still delivers, even after all these years. ST2 could put an attack over Galaxy, but that actually Frankie possibly losing the position on Kirillov on the inside. It tried into turn 1. It was a very late maneuver, and that actually puts Kirillov in a bit of a difficult situation because he was on outside into turn number 2. So Frankie is still in 7th place with Massimiliano Barale effectively saying thanks to the battle because there is an important gap that could be created between these two. That's a dive bomb! Ooh, that was very close between Frankie and Barale, with Frankie effectively losing control of his car and nearly crashing into the car ahead. But Barale remains... somehow survives the incident. And yeah, that's still 6th and 7th for Barale and Frankie, with Kirillov following behind. Again, very, very close between those two. But it's clear that Kirillov is getting very aggressive, but at the same time, Frankie is maybe playing with fire a bit too much. Last lap it was a 9.0 for Galaxy, so a bit of a terrible lap compared to the rivals behind. 8.4 for Barale, 8.5 for Frankie, 8.1 for Kirillov. Kirillov that may become 7th at the end of the lap. And matter of fact, he goes into the inside, into turn 1. Frankie still defends actually. It doesn't really defend it, but more like he continues to go on, knowing that this following corner is a left-hand side, and so that means that Frankie remains on the inner line, putting Kirillov's in a bit of a difficult situation. Well, a bit is reductive. The Bulgarian Devil is trying everything, every single card in his deck, but the outside line into 4 is also Barale into the inside of Galaxy, and that was a bit of a touch between the two. Oh, that's actually Barale that for some reasons doesn't go anymore. What happened here? He lost the gearbox. He lost the big gearbox. That's a car gone for Barale. I think he lost the engine by downshifting way too hard, way too rapidly. Yeah, the car is gone. It doesn't start anymore. And so we lost another car, but it's time for a mechanical failure. Big one there for the Italian. Possibly downshifting too quickly and losing the gearbox. And so yeah, Barale is into the pits. And that's a retirement for the Italian that was battling for 6th place. So this effectively promotes everyone else behind 1 place ahead. Still, there is possible attack between Frankie and Kirillov, with Kirillov this time chooses the outside line, but even prior to the end of turn 1, no, actually not this time again, but the sides are inverted, and now Kirillov is into the inside of turn number 2, so he just took the very same move from earlier, just inverted, and that's now Kirillov in 6th place, with Galaxy the next target for the Bulgarian driver. Disaster for the Italian. I'm still thinking about it here in turn number 4, as both Kirillov and Frankie went way outside of the racing line. Effective critical failure. With a gearbox that stopped working at all. And the only thing that comes to my mind is downshifting way too early. I don't think these cars have the downshift protection that GT3 cars have, as Dicker loses the position on Müller. That's for 16th place. With an initial attack that went through for Den Dicker. Sanchez is still here in 15th, but possibly may start to look at the mirror. So both Müller and Dicker were quite quick in the last lap. Müller more than Dicker. Müller's 9.8 was nearly a second quicker than Sanchez, was in the last lap. Unfortunately, the gap between Black and Okubo now raised from 2 seconds only to 3. And so I'm starting to doubt about any possible battle among the 3. And Black possibly will remain behind his teammate for the whole time. As here, Sanchez loses the position on Müller. Now in 15th place. With number 29. The jumps ahead, 2.7 behind Koto. As now Kirillov is meters behind, maybe just one, to the Canadian in 5th place. Number 3 defense into the right hander, into turn number 10. But it's clear that Kirillov has a very quick setup, lifting off to avoid a clash with his rival. At the same time, Kowa just lost an eternity there at the very last corner, possibly going a bit too wide. And you can see now the gap between Kowa, Galaxy and Kirillov, with only 5 times between Kowa and Galaxy, and Kirillov basically glued to the Canadian driver, to the Canadian drivers, actually. Both Kowa and Galaxy are Canadian. Different lines for the 3 drivers into 2. Into the hairpin, something may change. As you can see here, it was a very tight line for Kowa, Galaxy not so much. Sanchez also lost the position. Oh, never mind what I said. DK is into the gravel. DK into the gravel after trying an attack on Sanchez. That was for 16th place. He's now in 19th. And possibly even 20th place if Vro makes the attack count. And the answer is yes, he does. So that's 20th place for DK, unfortunately. Now back here. as both cars are really trying their best to put an attack on Koa, but realistically the one that will start the attack phase is Kirillov. Now 5th, on the outside he goes, and even before turn 1, that's the overtake for Kirillov, that may be back in 4th for his comeback run from 10th after the contact with Okubo. Technically, if a penalty gets issued to Okubo's name, this will actually be the podium for Kirillov, but that will be a post-race penalty if any applies. And instantly he already thinks about another overtake, this time into turn number 4, and inside he goes, and nearly spins by himself, making it a 2 by a side by side into 5, and so Kirillov goes back in position, single file once more for 4th place, this one here, although Kirillov is not stopping there, already tries another attack and passes quite easily. So that is Kirillov in 4th place, which effectively completes the comeback run. He's now back in 4th, and you just wonder if he can get back at least under the 5 seconds gap, because otherwise he will need a 10-second penalty on Okubo's name to gain the place. Number 3, and so the podium. The situation up front is still the same from lap number 1, with Gallardo leading the race, and Black effectively following, photocopying his teammate. Galaxy could jump in front of his fellow countryman, but Galaxy actually remains behind, as there was an evident approach for Koa, maybe trying something different to get back into 4th, but it doesn't seem like it. And so it is still 5th for Koa, although already going into the inside line. There was a fault. The dive bomb never went through. As again, you can see Koa defending very much, nearly actually making contact with Kirillov up ahead. And all this battling is actually helping Frankie a lot. He's only a second point 2 behind, and it could actually become a part of the battle for position. As you can see here, there's now a good distance between Kirillov and Koa, with Galaxy that was maybe a bit too aggressive on the bump draft. Unsettling the car number 70 for a moment. Lap times for these three: 8.4, 8.6, 8.6, 8.8 for Frankie. So probably my statement early on was a bit... I probably jumped the gun there, unless Frankie can resolve, even because now Villa is a second point 2 behind him. So this lap was actually very slow for the Maltese driver. In the meantime, again, Frankie was a bit... Koa was a bit too optimistic once again. It seems like he wants to deliver, clearly, but maybe he's being a bit too much optimistic. So less than 10 minutes to go, and Gallardo still leads in front of Black. At this point, it's just their race to lose, and Black, I doubt he will ever try an attack on his teammate. Kubo is here in third, Kilo still 6.5, and that's Galaxy. Not yet, actually, yes, it goes through, and that's Galaxy ahead of Kowa into turn 1, and the attack went through, and now the Canadian, well, both are Canadian, and now Galaxy is ahead of Kowa, with Frankie that is back to less than a second and a half, but Villa just set his personal best, so that's a second behind himself, between himself and Frankie. Stopping got 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane for Nukel. Speeding where? Oh, because he's back in the pits. That's why. So you got possibly another DNF. As you can see here, Kowa still displeased with the current situation and probably wants to make another attack on Galaxy, but that doesn't happen here. It clearly doesn't happen here. Frankie now 1.8, and that was Diaz and Machas switching places with Diaz making it into the top 10. With Diaz now in 10th place, Machas is in 11th. And everyone else follows behind. The number of DNFs is now 3, with Ojeda that disconnected in the very first laps, Barale that destroyed his gearbox, and Nukel that is back on the racetrack. But he has a stop and go penalty for speeding. And then Kostelin, who also probably went in the pits for some reasons. Effectively, the battle is just here as the last 6 minutes of the race approach. And downhill they go. The closest battle on track at the moment is this one here between the Canadian drivers. With Kowa in 6th, Galaxy now in 5th place. The last lap was an 8.2 for Galaxy, the fastest lap he set in the whole race. Even quicker than Krylov's one, but to be fair, he was in the slipstream, so that certainly helped. The gap between Krylov and Okubo is more than 5 seconds, so if a penalty is set on Okubo's name, it has to be more than 5 seconds. So currently a 5-second penalty will not be enough for Krylov to be back in 3rd. A possible 10 is plausible, but I'm not a steward luckily, so personally it could also be referred as a racing incident. But I'm just stating that if a penalty gets applied, there should be the requirement for it to count on Krylov's position. Meanwhile, Alexander and Sanchez here, with Sanchez that is on the outside, the 57 still trying something there to defend, but that's actually Sanchez in 17th place. 9.5 in the last lap, and that was a 7.8, so actually it was Sanchez that just lost 7 seconds. And Sanchez gained back on Alexander at least, but he's 17th instead of 16th. So surely a mistake happened, but I'm not sure where. which is here still very close to Diaz 2. And the 07 that just lost a place on Diaz could answer back in the next 3 minutes. Not too much time available for the white and green car on the edge of the top 10, but not there anymore. Although in turn 1 I can see that happening. Aiming for the inside line. Still behind, throwing the car into the inside, and that's actually a 72 that was a bit too cautious and loses the place. As all of a sudden Black is leading the race. Change into turn number 4, and the 34 is now leading the race. So possibly either a mistake or something similar, but Gallardo is now behind Black. So change in the lead, as also Diaz is back in 10th place, speaking of which, as you can see here into turn 4. But I wonder what happened, because these two have been following one another for 40 minutes effectively. And now the positions are inverted, with Black in 1st place. Moreover, Diaz is back in 10th, much as in 11th and Casero in 12th. And now I'm interested to see if there is an effective challenge for position between the two in the last 2 minutes of the race. A lot of bump draft there, and into turn 1 it's going to be the same. So I'm not entirely sure why. Something happened. As Anderson here, also very close to the car ahead. That's Anderson still in 9th. And Okua, and Kawa, so apologies, Kawa that tried on the outside, thought about it, but that didn't happen. With these two that are very close to one another, and now that's Gallardo going on outside. A bit too optimistic about the move. They're still side by side between the two, so now they are fighting. Unless something happened in the team order. But now clearly there isn't a team order anymore. And Gallardo outside he tries. There's the car on the light blue accents. In 1st, and that's Jake Black. With Gallardo in the blue accents. And that's practically the only thing that really makes them recognizable one another, except for the number, which is 34 for Jake Black and 22 for really Gallardo. As here, also, there is Okubo that just lost everything. He is now in 4th. Kirillov is now in 3rd place. What just happened here? Huge mistake, clearly, for Okubo, that lost the place into turn number 10. Unless the car is out of fuel, and everything is happening in the last few seconds. Here it is for the lead of the race. Gallardo is back in 1st. Into turn 1 he goes, and that's Gallardo back in 1st place in the car number 22. But it's still not over for the two cars that took the white flag. Meanwhile, here there is also a huge overtake action as the 22 tries something on the inside. Actually, it was Black on the outside, apologies. And Black made it back in 1st. As Okubo lost the place on Kirillov, who is now in the podium position. It's the last lap, so I suppose we could see some very interesting moves. Okubo thinks about it, tries it, but it doesn't really put the dive bomb forward. Galaxy also tried something very different from the usual, trying on the outside. Also in the background you could see Anderson trying himself also on the outside on Villa, who is still in 8th place. In the meantime, Jake Black just put the gap on 5/10 after managing to defend against his teammate, who doesn't seem like he can gain those 4 times back. Can't say the same about here. Oh, Manuel Nukel under disqualified for stopping go that hasn't been taken. And meanwhile, Anderson is also ahead. And also you can see here there's another contact in between Okubo and Kirillov once again. Kirillov is into the grass. And Okubo is also out into the grass too. Spinning. And that's Kubo in the podium. All of a sudden, Galaxy is now in 4th. Frankie 5th. And Anderson all off. A sudden, everything changed with Anderson now in 7th, maybe 6th, and that's Black that takes the flag and wins the race in front of Gallardo and Kua that somehow is in the podium place just in front of Galaxy. With Frankie and Anderson or Villa, I can't say for certain who the two decide on it, and Anderson is ahead of Villa. With Kirillov that completes in 8th for Kubo, 9th. Disaster run for them. Diaz completes the top 10 with Machas, Casero, Zalewski, Müller. Then Kuto. In 15th, but disaster run for Kirillov and Okubo. They both were involved in practically the very same incident twice, and both times it was Okubo behind. Asvro is in 16th, Sanchez completes the race in 17th, Alexander in 18th, Iker in 19th place, with Salazar in 20th, Lozada Coster in completing the race in 21st and 22nd. Then we've got a disqualified car, which is Nukel in 23rd, Barale DNF after the gearbox exploded in 24th, or in 25th after disconnection, and Zabaski that I'm still concerned about the fact that he has been thrown in and out of the race, so couldn't even take part on the starting grid. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. The situation in the penalty room. So Black effectively wins the race in front of Gallardo and Kowa, that suddenly found himself in 3rd. Amazing final moments. It was honestly, as usual, the final lap is the one that changes things up. Unfortunately, I want to apologize to both Black and Gallardo that I didn't put them on the live TV coverage for the checkered flag, but again, everything was happening. So, again, apologies. Theoretically, that should be the moment of the winner, but I just missed it by a couple of seconds. You all saw why, so that's my defend on that. That was honestly a very nice race, and as usual, the MX5 deliver. Think about the real life counterpart. It doesn't really change. You can put them in the simulator or on the real thing, and every time it's the same. And it's the same kind of racing, so a mess to be quite rapid and concise. It's always a mess. I'm not the admin. Yes, I know I'm not the admin of the server. What do you mean? I need to go into the result, because I don't think they will come through as of now. I'm hoping every time. I'm not sure why the qualifying results are instantaneous and the race results are not so instantaneous. I don't know if there is a way for me to sort of do anything about it. But results are still the one from Harama. So let's have a look into the calendar. So after we went into Phillip Island this evening, the next one is going to be Sonoma, which brings back a tiny bit the American route of these cars. We've got Lime Rock Park, which I think it would be a very nice addition even in the real life calendar, but obviously not possible because it is support series for the IMSA WeatherTech Championship, so you can't really put the MX5 with in another place when it happens. We've got now Sonoma in the next week, in 7 days time, so in the 10th of December. There is Sonoma. For whoever follows NASCAR, even in NASCAR it's a mess, so it's going to be a very nice race, that one there. Then we got Norris Ring. For whoever follows DTM, it's just an oval. It's practically an oval, the track there, come on. But yeah, we also in DTM we saw multiple times that things go south very rapidly. Bilsterberg and Nordschleife completing the championship. And if you didn't see what they are fighting for, well, I will update you instantly, because this is what they are fighting for. The MX5 Pro Series is brought to you by GSI, and the first place finisher in the championship receives an FPA V2 wheel with a GXL V2 for the second place holder, and whoever comes home with the bronze medal, it is an Interlock Ultra for them. So that's also why the two drivers up there were also battling for some more points. For everyone else, these are the prices in all of the other championships. As usual, there are a lot of championships at stake. As we got the Radical Cup, the Formula 2004, the Porsche Cup, the Sports Car Series, the LMP3 Challenge, the GT3 Series, the Sigma TCR Cup, and the Open Wheel Championship. You can see all the prices in front of you right now, with prices for the podium only in the TCR Cup, while the other prices are exclusively for the winner of the championship. And two other series, actually 4 other series, put forward the raffle. So the GTV series and the Formula series with the... I have to do a thing, because I have to visit. No. Okay, so the Formula 2004, the Porsche Cup, and the LMP3 Challenge are with a raffle on the hand. Radical Cup, Open Wheel Championship, Sports Car Series, and the GT3. And no, please, that's just the 3 series that give prizes only for the winner of the championship. Meanwhile, the GT3 series gives even for them a voucher for the winner, and a raffle for 2 other lucky winners in the Box 1 Racing GT3 series. And then you can see the different gloves for the Sigma TCR Cup. Tomorrow it's Thursday, so this means we've got the ACC, so this means... let's put this calendar forward, because I can't remember. Because of that. You can see here Pro Series, and tomorrow... Suzuka. We got Suzuka, then Hungaroring, Paul Ricard, Christmas, and then Monza. With very interesting championship that is brought forward, and probably you don't know them, but these are also the prices for the KC.D Pro Series, with a 2,500 euro voucher from Monza Racing. Nitro Concepts gives a Metaptic bundle for whoever arrives in second, and an Audi LCD GX pair of headset for the bronze medal winner. Let's see if the results are stated. Otherwise, no, okay, they are not. Unfortunate. Every time, unfortunately, standings takes some time, a bit too much time. So let's see if I can at least tell you about... that's why I can't even tell you, because they are not on yet. Alright. I think then we will conclude here the live stream. Thank you very much to for having been here this evening. Tomorrow it's ACC time. I was Cristiano Romano, and well, I hope the microphone was also a good improvement compared to the earlier microphone. But in any case, I was Cristiano Romano. Have a good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe. See you next time. Bye.